Hey kids, so I thought I'd break this scene down for you before I broke it down. I've been shooting the Mythic Legions line for their website, and this is the first troll. These are the big, these guys are big. These guys are, let's see if I can find, well, this is a test shot, but you know, in relationship to the regular figures, these guys are pretty massive. So I want to show that kind of mass in the shot itself, and you know, for the site I like to try and use some of their accessories and have them in an action pose, not just sort of standing there. I do those shots too, but this is like the action shot. So I found this shot on a stock site of an ice cave, right? It's perfect. I was thinking more interior, more grays, blues. I mean, the blues are here, the blue-greens are here, but I wasn't thinking like sun, like the opening of a cave, but I started playing with it and I kind of liked it. So I started out with this, which is my overhead light right here. It's a softbox. This is one of my LED cans with a softbox with a blue gel in it. So you can see that's giving him nice blue glow to sort of play off the, you know, the blue color of the ice inside the cave. I just popped a Lumicube down here, or a Lume Cube, and this is on a little stand that I found on Amazon, and that's a gin and tonic. I highly recommend that if you run out of whiskey, otherwise. And it's nice. It's a flexible gooseneck stand for a mic or a camera or a light like this. So it works out really well. I just put a diffuser on there to kind of, you know, get it to bounce around, because I was going to use, and I did end up using some bounce cards like this. So this is just one of my standard bounce cards, just a piece of cardboard. Got my ever handy clamp on it, and I'm placing that over to the side. I wanted it to be kind of shadowy and backlit. But one of the things I like to do is, like, I put this here, and I actually had a second one. And maybe I'll pull it out and just show you what it looked like. But you can see if I place this here, how much brighter he gets on that side. It's hard to see here, actually, I think, because I have the lights on. Let me do that. There you go. Okay. Now you can see the effect that has on the left side of him. And it was nice, but it was almost too evenly lit. And I was getting enough light from here that was coming underneath his arm and kind of, you know, bouncing around, you know, like a rim light on his side. So I decided to just do this and take that out and let the contrast play with it. Plus, I put one of these aperture lights with a blue gel underneath it to underlight him. So I wanted to get that nice, like, evil looking light on him, really get him looking menacing, and that was really working. It was a little bright though, so I have some of this. It's just tracing paper. Get it in a huge roll. I generally keep some pieces until they start falling apart, small like this. And just played with it. I think I tinted it a little bit just to kind of have it bounce a little bit down here on his loincloth there. But it was actually bouncing up on his belly a little too much as well. And you can kind of see that there. So I just added, this is a piece of photofoil or cinefoil. It's black matte foil. I've talked about this in other videos. And I just placed that sort of roughly here, so it didn't affect his face much. It just affected it bouncing off his belly and really lighting that up, because that was already getting enough light from this. In the camera you can really see it. Let me just turn that on and show you what we're seeing here. but that's what you're getting. So there was a lot of light coming through that, and that's looking a little blown out on this, but it's not as bad that it's coming through that ice sword there. But now again, I got fog that I'm going to bring into this, so I can't get too crazy with having things be so bright that when I bring the fog in, it doesn't completely blow out, because the fog will have an effect on light. Fog is going to add density to the air, basically, and the light is going to bounce all over that fog. So when you're looking at your meter in the camera, parts of this are going to look dark. You know, the side of his face is underexposed. But I've gotten so used to setting where I need to set things when I use fog, and you're just going to have to play with it a little bit. It could be 2 steps for you, it could be 1 step for you. And it does depend on how much light you have in the scene itself, too. But the fog will disperse the light and bounce it around. And sometimes, this is why I take hundreds of shots with this stuff when I use fog, is because, you know, you're going to get one shot out of that where it just hit the right places at the right time. And then sometimes there's a couple shots, and then you can merge those in Photoshop, mask out a few good areas up in the upper corner and take a few from the lower corner. Generally, I try to get one good shot, though. And it's kind of practicing with where to throw the fog to, you know, underneath, or do I want to blow it behind him? I don't exactly remember what I did. I think I kind of had it billowing underneath, and then I sort of just blew it or waved it up behind him. So I didn't want it to obscure the background completely, which it'll do as well if there's too much there. I think I got a 2-second exposure on this at f16. So I want to get f16 because I wanted to make it clear that this was an ice cave and you could see the icicles and that wasn't blown out. ISO is 100. I usually try to do, 100. And then I'll take the fog and just blow that underneath there a little bit. Just blow it around to spread it a little bit. I do have a trigger that I can set to just automatically shoot shot after shot every 2 seconds. So I just set that to go. Play with blowing the smoke around a little bit, the fog around, and see how that works out. Again, hundreds of shots. Sometimes, to get a good one. You can see how things are progressing here with the fog. And it's still there, it's still in the air and it's still playing. So one of these shots could be great even at the end when there's barely any fog left. You never know. Just got to keep shooting. I liked this. This was good. It was getting a little bright. It looked a little white, and so I wanted to get it more like the color of the background. This greenish blue that's back here that you see. So I just took a gel. And I highly recommend these gels. You can get cellophane and stuff, but generally can't find it in all these colors, just in like a craft store. So these are not expensive. A set of gels might cost you $25-30, but there's all sorts of colors in there. And they're great for this. So what I'll do is I'll clip this to my bounce board or reflector. And now I'm still getting that reflection, but I've tinted it a little bit. So the light now that's actually falling on him is no longer just, kind of a white or tinting him a little more brightly. It's tinting him a little more blue. And I like the way that worked out. That came out really, really well. That's the anatomy of that shot. Bounce cards are great. Gels on the bounce cards are great. Sometimes less is more. Sometimes you can light up a scene too much. You start losing the contrast. But don't be afraid to back it up. Don't be afraid to, once you've got things in place, just say, let me take this out. Let me get rid of this element. As a matter of fact, I had over here, I had a big rock that at one point I was using as a set piece. I'd put some snow on there, and that was going to be part of like a cave, just to have a little more of a physical presence there. And it was just kind of getting in the way. This is a big figure, and I wanted him to fill the frame, and there just wasn't enough room for this rock, and it wasn't making any sense. Didn't look good in the shot, and so I lost it. Lost that, lost the other bounce card, and I'm pretty happy with the results. So sometimes less is more.